Aloha, this is Matt Darnell with ComTel.Cloud, like up in the sky. This is a continuation of our videos about getting maximum performance out of your NAS. If you're wondering what the setup is, definitely check out the link on the screen right now, or it's down there in the description. You'll be able to see the exact setup of the NAS and the kind of hard drives that we are using. What we're doing different today is we finally got our native 10 gig port here that we're going to put in the Synology. So it's an RJ45, so it's a patch cable, and we are going to be connecting it to this Mac Studio we have, and it has a native 10 gig port. So we're going to have this, putting this in the Synology and having this connected to the switch as well, and just seeing how much data we can get across the wire. The goal is for 8.5 gigabits that we want on the wire. So plan A is just to put this in there, pull data from the Mac Studio, see what happens. If I look at the kind of switch we've got there, you'll see here it only has two SFP plus ports. The other ports, there are some 2.5 gig ports and some more gigabit ports, but only two SFP plus ports. So plan A is just to use these two devices we have. Plan B, we'll hook up some more stuff to the 2.5 gig ports and try to pull down through the Synology. And then I don't want to go to plan C, change out the switch to a Grandstream switch that's got 6 of the SFP plus ports, and then hook up some servers and try to pull that data from the NAS. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got here in this package from Synology. So let's see what we've got. I'm assuming it's just a little, I don't know what this form factor is called. I don't know if it's just a PCI, Express in a funky case, but it is a little deal here. Got anything else in here? Nope, no instructions, no nothing. Synology. And I paid everything you're seeing here. I paid for retail price or reseller price. We are an ISP or MSP. So yeah, that could be just a regular PCI and just a funky housing. But it's just got one NIC right there, and it's kind of hard to see, but it does say 10 gigabits per second. So we're going to go ahead and put this into the Synology, but we will need SFP pluses. So I've got 2 TP link here, but for fun, I'm going to try one TP link, and also this one here is from company 10G Tech, TEK, and different from that. So let's open this one first. G Tech. Interesting. On the back here, it says reach up to 30 meters. So about 100 feet at 6A/7 is the kind of cabling it wants there. So let's see what we got in here. What is this? How does this open? Oh, slides, right? Smarter than the box. All right, what good stuff do we have in here? Optical transceiver. Caution, installing. Flip the back clasp up. So if I look here, it has a little clasp there, then just the normal SFP connection. But 10G Tech, I mean, it feels all metal. Let's go ahead and compare it. Again, the slides in does not pop off. Let's compare that to the TP-Link. Oh, another installation guide. I'm curious. I do not know if these are hot swappable. If you can, if SFP Plus is hot swappable. Go ahead and throw that down there in the comments if you know for sure. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say about turn off the power first. I don't know if that's just assumed or what, but yeah, it's got the instructions and nothing there. I do like how this other one was packed in this little tin, you know, it's kind of nice. But look at this. Yeah, I mean, if they didn't have the brands there, I don't think I'd be able to tell the difference. There's obvious design differences, but yeah, it's very, very slight. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and head over and install these into the switch, throw this into the Synology, and then connect this Mac Studio. So we have the power off on the Synology. Let's go ahead and take off this door. The screwdriver is almost too big for these small screws. So we shut it down cleanly. Oh, no, there it goes. And this is just a little door that goes there. And let's grab our 10 gig module here. And this is just going to slide right down in there. Okay, so let's put the screws back in. And well, that's pretty painless. And I don't know, I looked around, I did not find a third party 10 gig module, in this form factor. I don't know, I mean, the red plugs there, those are eSATA, that's not USB, so you couldn't do a 2.5 gig USB adapter or anything like that. This is probably your only source. Okay, so we're going to reach around here. We are going to power that back up. So fan starts spinning. So now let's move over to this side here and we're going to put in our SFP modules. Now these are hot pluggable, so it should be no problem to plug them in. I'm having a little bit of trouble here. Oh, there we go. There's one. Man, it's tough. One out, and it's just a little thing there. And I guess you're not supposed to use your fingernails on that. Okay, so we have our two 10 gig. This one is the TP link. We're going to put that at port 26. So let's go ahead and pop that in there. And then this one is our 10G Tech. So let's go ahead and get that in there. So again, this Mac Studio, this is a native 10 gig port. So yeah, there is a bit of a difference in how they look. Let's just see if plug and play. I don't know if we need to enable these in Unify, but if I just plug that in there, doesn't seem to have, oh, there we go, got a link light right there. And then we're gonna plug this one into, boy, that doesn't seat nearly as well. Much harder. Gonna plug that here into the Synology. So we'll see if we get a link light in both the switch and the Synology. See how we got on the Unify, and yeah, have some blinking lights there. Okay, so let's go ahead and check this out, and let's do some file transfers, native 10 gig from the Synology to the Mac Studio. Okay, so we have everything plugged in, ready to go. If we look here on Unify, I can see, I go to the port manager. I've got my two SFP plus ports. Let me move that for a second. My two SFP plus ports, and it does have the right color, the 10 gigabit. I went ahead and changed it from white to green on the ether lighting, just because I wanted to make sure that that white actually meant something on top of those ports. And that is working. It is green above those ports. So we do have those there. But just for fun, just to make sure there's absolutely no question, what I'm going to do is I am going to disable um, the other ports going into the NAS. So there's no question of what we have happening there. So if I give this one last refresh here, so 9, 10, 11, 12 are all disabled. So here on the NAS, if I look, um, I've got these four should all become undisabled, unworking. And here I have, this is the 10 gigabit connection there. I was nice that both the TP-Link and the other one were working great here in the switch, and those are hot plug. So this is still connected. Should be a second, then it's going to go off, and then we're actually going to see if we have the full, how close we can get to that 10 gig with just this right here. Okay, so they are all off there on the Synology. If I ping that address 10.10.10.31, I will have nothing. And likewise, it kind of confused me. It's just ironically, it's just 131 for the 10 meg connection. So I had to give it a double take just to make sure that I just thought something was weird. They both got assigned the same IP address. But okay, so we just have a 10 meg connection there. And if we have our, on the NAS here, we have the network throughput there. And so let's go to our AnyDesk. Let's ignore that. And this is just a bunch of files we're going to drop off of the NAS. 166 files. They're all a gigabit. And so it's transferring. That's pretty fast from what I can see there. Let's see what we got here. We can look on the desktop. That's kind of our initial sighting here. Oh, you know what? I was connecting through 31. Now I've got to connect through 131 because 31 is no longer working. Let's go ahead and get signed in. See what kind of speed we have just with this one server here. Okay, I know it's going to be faster than that, than the 151. Let's go into our here and go to our resource manager. So 454 megabytes. Let's give that a second, but whip out the calculator here. So 477 times 8. No, that can't be. We're at only 3. If I go on the switch here, yeah, it's only using a 36% of that 10 gig. Let's take a look at the utilization of the disks. Have we reached a just as fast as they can read? It does not appear to be the case. And yeah, the network is kind of tapping out there at 466. But again, this disk read, we need to take that with a grain of salt. So I'm going to let this run for a few minutes, see if it goes any higher. I really can't imagine that it will. Not exactly sure where the bottleneck is now. I mean, looking at the data here, the disks utilization about 60%. And that's not that much. That's not much better than we had when we had the 4 NICs bonded, 4 1 gig NICs bonded. Pulling from like 4 different computers. It was about that much bandwidth. 496. So if we round that up to 500, um, so 500 times 8, that's exactly 4. No, well, yeah, times 8, so times 2 again. So that's exactly 4,000 uh, megabits. We were about 3,000. So that really didn't add a lot. So gonna go to plan B. I'm gonna plug some more things, some more devices, 2.5 gig devices into the switch, or the Unify switch, have them all pulling at the same time out of that 10 gig connection that's directly connected to the NAS. And it might just be that this is not accurate, and that the discs are just doing, because again, we have the 4 spinning discs. They are the Red Pros, so 7,200 RPMs, but it could just be they're maxed out. That's the most they could do. If we plug some more things in and we don't get any higher speed, well, then we're going to enable the SSD cache and have them all reading the same files, so not only are we pulling from the disk, we'll be pulling from the SSD cache as well. And if that still doesn't get us to 80% of 10 gigs, I'm gonna use a different switch. It has 6 SFP plus ports, and with that, we'll plug multiple 10 gig devices in it, 2.5 gig. Oh, I mean, we'll really try to saturate this thing. So I am determined to get 80% of our 10 gig one way or another. So let me go ahead and set that up, and we'll see what it does. All right, let's see what we've got here. Let me move this to the other corner. What I did is this laptop I'm on right now, it's actually doing a copy, and it's doing okay, about 70 megabytes. I've got a computer plugged into port 24 at 2.5 gigs, and we can see port 24 here. It's about 31% capability. So here's the laptop that we're on. This first one here, that's the transmit, that's the Synology sending it up to the network. We can see it's only about 28%, and here is the Mac Studio, again, receiving. So this is pushing up to the network, and these are receiving. If I look at the Synology, it actually slowed down a bit, adding those extra 2 computers. And I'm starting to think, yeah, it is these drives, they just can't handle it. So they're still about 60%, but the throughput is lower. So let's see, if I just cancel this here, is that gonna increase the throughput? Because now I've got, look at that, it's just jumped up. So these hard drives, spinning hard drives, those heads are moving back and forth trying to get that. So what we're gonna do right now is enable the, I don't know what's gonna happen, but if I'm gonna enable the storage here, the cache. So manage available drives. We are going to create SSD cache, mount volume 1. We'll have one volume. That's the one we want to do cache. And we're going to do read write. Probably for this test, it might make sense to do read only because we're only reading. But in the real world, I think for the most time, people are going to do read write. So let's go ahead and do that. And we should be able, yeah, so RAID 1. So even if one of the cache drives dies, it will continue to go. And again, they're 2 terabyte caches, so we should have plenty of space here. Let's do that, create that. It's saying it's lower tolerance because we have a RAID 6 on the hard drives, which has 2 redundant drives, where this only has 1 redundant drive. We'll give it to max space. Required cache to enhance performance of small file. Okay, we're going to be doing some small files, so we'll go ahead and put that on, and we will apply that. All data on the newly added drive will be erased. That's fine, because it shouldn't erase the data that's already on the hard drives. It's just going to erase the data there. Okay, so here it is erasing those. And I don't know if we're gonna lose pings, or it doesn't look like so far, or if these copies. Let me go and just restart this copy. just so I can kind of see um, what happens to things in place. Okay, come on, work with me. This doesn't want to do this, does it? Come on. You can do it, little laptop. Oh, not responding. Okay, so yeah, that this is not something. That's the nice thing about we're here in the lab. We don't have to worry about it, but that's not something you want to do when you are in production. So now it's healthy. If I look at the volume, um, I have the cache. We're not using that much. What kind of? Oh, whoops. Pinning metadata SSD cache. All right, so we'll go ahead and wait for that metadata to get installed there. Once everything is calmed down, everything is healthy, we're going to restart these 3 computers doing the transfer again and see what kind of speed increase we get from there. Right now, I've got everything going. Speed is just not increasing at all. Every now and then you find that there's a little burp like that, but for sustained throughput, you can see megabytes, 350, 356, 354 times 8. That's under 3 gigabits. If I look at the storage manager here, that's healthy. The SSD cache is healthy. It's getting a high cache hit rate because I went all the way through, copied everything over at one time from 10 gig to 10 gig so that it could put everything in the cache, and then the 2.5 gig and the 1 gig follow behind it. So hopefully they would be reading off of the cache and not through the hard drive. So you can see here the cache hit rate is 100%. So we're definitely banging on that cache right now, but it's just not making a big difference. The one more thing I'm going to try right now, I don't even know if it's possible, is to these two M.2 drives, just to eliminate the hard drives before we get into MTUs and add even more devices. And the more devices I add, it seems to slow it down, like we saw previously. MTUs, is it a layer 1? Do we got a patch cord problem? But what I'm going to do right now is try to remove these two SSD caches and then add them as just a regular volume. And I'm going to put them in RAID 0 stripe, so fast as we can go for that. I don't know if it's going to destroy the entire the whole volume there, but let's see. Scheduler, let's see, what can we do? Volume 1. How can we do that? Something tells me we're going to have to delete the entire. There's no more action. Go here. What can I do? Nothing. So, yeah, we're going to have to destroy the entire settings, advanced. Yeah, the entire volume. Copy all these files back over and then do that. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do next. And I want to get 80% of that 10 gig. So I'm going to stop this video here. It's getting kind of long, but I've got to copy all these files off somewhere else so that I could, save them and then redo this, put them back on the SSD, and we'll see how that goes. But if you've got any other ideas beside, now I wanted to do this what a normal small business would do, just do some bonding, throw a 10 gig port into there, SFPs, the pluses. I mean, they're $50, not very expensive. I don't know if they would get into the MTUs on the switches, and that can cause issues downstream when you have machines that can't handle that. So, the switches having to, you got a really big packet, it's got to break it up into smaller packets for the end device that can't, handle the big MTU. So, yeah, any other normal thing, I'm going to get some Cat 7 patch cords. I've got a couple downstairs somewhere. I'll dig those out. I doubt it's a layer 1 issue, but I want to check that. I'm going to redo this drives and see if that happens. But yeah, if you have any other ideas of what you think could be slowing this down, please let me know. Put that down there in the comments and we will give it a try. So again, Hope you enjoyed this. This is Matt Darnell with ComTel.Cloud, like up in the sky. Aloha.